and that you two had great chemistry at the Crockett-Heyman Manhattan Center WNN TV taping pilot. Do you think that you and Missy as a pairing would have worked in a longer-term pairing? And that is submitted from Chris with 2 S's via email.
I agree with Missy. I think there was chemistry there because there was so much history there. Missy was there at the beginning when the Shane Douglas name was created, as I've often talked about on this show and other places. There was also the connection with Eddie Gilbert, right? She was married to Eddie when Eddie brought me into UWF and gave me the Shane Douglas name and put that first belt on me in UWF. There was a lot more connection to that, but I remember the taping in the Manhattan Center, but it was a one and done. It was a one and off. It's hard to say, it's sort of like ECW, so when you're talking about ECW and you take a step back and you put it just as a, if you put everything on postcards, a 3x5 postcard, here's WWF, here's WCW, here's Ring of Honor, here's TNA, here's ECW. When you just put it on a stationary level like that, it's really hard to say as to which one's the best, which one's the worst, and which one has a chance and which one doesn't. The one thing it's hard for me to disassociate from is that the one thing that I know for certain because of the history to it is what Francine and I achieved. There was, that's no slam towards Tori Wilson or Lizzie Borden that would come later, or even Sherry Martel that came before. But I know for certain because of the history of it that Francine and the franchise character connected to the fans. So I don't know what Missy Hyatt and Shane Douglas would have achieved. But I will agree that at that initial taping, that Crockett taping at Manhattan Center, that there was a definite chemistry. But, looking back, it's one of those things where you're like saying that you're going to take a known quantity versus the X factor. I don't know. I can't speak to that other than I do know what Francine and I achieved. And I think that looking back at it, that's not something you can sneeze at, whether you're an ECW fan or comparing it to something with WWF, WCW, WWE, or NWA or UWF before it. Shane Douglas and Francine and the franchise achieved something that I'm not so sure can just be bottled and transcended to somebody else or 2 other wrestlers or 2 other performers. There was something special in the chemistry that she and I had.